Item number 1, which is to approve the minutes of the January 6th regular meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the January 6th, 2021 meeting. Regular meeting.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 2 is budget transfers and amendments. You have a sheet under number 2 for that.
We give $4,000 for what?
Restraint mobile unit.
That was us
Yes,
buying a new restraint chair.
yes.
Yep.
That's what their,
That didn't come out of county money.
We're just transferring the line item.
Yes, from other expense to equipment and furniture.
And I guess 11,700 is for another expert witness.
Yes, sir.
On the capital murder. Do we have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 3 is to approve and pay the bills. I think there are 2 sets. The first set is bills that are what we always call Friday bills, ones that we just automatically pay.
Make them up to pay the bills.
And the second set is normal bills. Usually the auditor's office has these ready early if you want to get them and you can look over them before quarter. You can look at them now, whatever you want to do. We try to have the books ready.
I'll second Craig's motion.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 4, there is no payroll.
Yes, ma'am.
There is.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, this jumps on the bottom. Do that. That's payrolls.
Make a motion to approve the payroll.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 5 is reports. We have a report from the senior services for December. Also, an upcoming event. Bingo is scheduled throughout each month at the Butler, Fairfield, and Higgs Centers. We have a report from Precinct 2 JP for December. The district clerk for the month of December. The tax office for the month of December. JP3 for December. An investment report for the
For a quarter, Judge.
for the fourth fiscal quarter that ended in September. Well, no, it says September on the top.
This will be for the
Fiscal year, but
October,
it's for the
December.
first quarter, October through December, the first fiscal quarter of this year. Not calendar quarter, fiscal quarter. Quarterly sick leave pool report from October through December. No hours used. We have the treasurer's report. Actually, we have the auditor's report for December, and then the treasurer's report that is based on the auditor's report. Does anybody else have a report? If not, do we have a motion to accept the reports?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 6 is to discuss the burn ban.
No action.
Judge, I'm not sure who's responsible for the sign that says there's a burn ban in effect on 75 around close to the Pyburn Church. But I'd like for it to be changed if there's no burn ban. You know, because it's been up for a long time.
Okay. Doesn't it just fold down? I think
It should, but,
fold it up.
yeah.
Okay. And where is it exactly?
It is on 75, just about by the church. I know it by the name Pyburn, but that's not its name.
South?
South of 75, south of town.
Okay.
Just past
Right.
Utley Lane, past Utley
Yeah,
Lane.
city limits out,
I'm sorry.
right there past the city limits.
Right,
Oh, okay.
thank you.
If there's no action, then we do not have a burn ban on. Item number 7, special road use agreements. Are there any? If not, we'll go to item number 8, bonds and education certificates. Have a rider for precinct 1. Expiration on that is changed to January 1st of 25. Also, for county attorneys, it is, expiration date is changed to January 1st, 2025. And also for the tax collector. Anybody else have a bond or education certificate?
I turned 2 in.
second it.
Lloyd? Oh, okay. Yes, Open Meetings Act, Training, Confirmation and Certificate. And also Public Information Act. Both of these are for Commissioner Precinct 3. We have a motion to
I'll
approve
make
these.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carried. We have already had a presentation from Hart Inter Civic. We'll need to discuss the differences, I guess, in the two presentations that we've had on voting machines, and also be sure we have a good quotes on both of those so we can make a decision on those voting machines. We'll have that on the next agenda to decide. You may need to update on the ES&S and be sure that any discussion on that?
I guess I should have asked him before we left. Did he say that you could actually take a paper ballot and mark it and then scan it, and that'd be it?
You can't scan a marked one. That
He
the
said
machine
if
will
you mark
reject
something
it.
out or anything,
No.
it wouldn't scan in.
He said you could
But he
take
was-
a paper ballot out to the car, mark it, and run to the scanner.
That was on the system that he didn't have set up in there.
Yes.
Right,
right,
It's the
that's what
same
he said.
system.
Yeah. So why would you need to?
Just a comment, it sounds like to me with this company, you have to get more equipment to do all the same things that ES&S will do. So that's why I was confused with the paper ballots, it takes another system to read those. That he said he did not have
Yeah, I
set
think
up.
he did say another system.
Yes,
he
he
did.
Okay.
Clarity on the ballot that he held up, that he said you had to mark, that you could mark. There's another system that generates that type of
Yes.
ballot.
Right.
Then that ballot that you mark up then can be scanned into the system.
Yeah. Take a different scanner. And verify that with them and how much that would cost if we had to have another one of those, just ask.
And do you think it'd be feasible to ask if they'll do trade-ins with what we've already had, even though it's not their company? I don't know if they
Well,
can.
you sure ask them.
I might ask that.
He did give us two different quotes, and one of them was for the paper thing, and the other one was for the presentation
Oh, okay.
that he gave us.
Thank you.
They're in this.
But if you would, get us an updated one from the ES&S, and that way we can compare them next time. Okay, thank you. Item number 10 is to approve a cybersecurity course for Freestone County employees for 2021. And under state law, all elected officials and any local government employee who has access to a local government computer system or database must complete a cybersecurity training certified by the Texas Department of Information Resources at least annually. I thought when it first came out that meant the first time, and but it means every year.
We gotta do that again?
Yes.
So we have to do that every year?
Every year.
You do it, huh?
We gotta get it all.
Yeah.
But we're required to do that, and so do we have a motion to approve that cybersecurity
We
course?
have to figure it out.
And I guess the main thing is letting everybody know that we have to do it every year.
I still want to make that motion.
Well, I do too. Second.
All right, all in favor, aye. Thank you.
Y'all, both of y'all are gonna be teaching that course? Oh, it's not, okay.
I'm out of luck. Again.
That was the first thing I said, we've already done that.
Might have some computer.
Cybersecurity, okay. Item number 11, discuss, consider, and act on the award of construction contract for the Freestone County Water Improvement Project. It gives the number, and it's contingent upon recommendation from project engineer JFF J.F. Fontaine and Associates. We have a letter, and they are recommending Johnson Lab and Supply. And there was only one bid that was turned in for this, and it was from Johnson Lab and Supply. And there is a little difference in the amount that the contract is, and that the bid was for, but Butler Water Supply is going to pay that difference. Isn't that correct?
That is correct, Judge.
Okay, so do we have a motion to award the construction contract to Johnson? What was the rest of it? Lab? Johnson Lab and Supply.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Can you talk to these people, the contractor?
Oh, yeah, I was, yesterday we did have to get open at 10 o'clock, and I was present along with the engineer. Of course, none of the contractor was there. We did send out 5 applicants for a bid. Only one responded. And when we reviewed the bid, that's when we discovered that the $212,000, when we only had $207,000 was the original contract, grant. So Butler Water Corporation will pay the $4,872.43. So that's why I'm here to confirm that. I've instructed the office manager to submit an email to the judge and all the other entities that let them know that we are committed. And I want to say thanks to each of you and to the new commissioner for your support for Butler Water Corporation. We appreciate it.
And the award, the contract award to Johnson Lab and Supply in the amount of $212,322.43, and that has to be in the motion.
212, say that again, please.
$212,322.43.
Okay.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Item number 11 is to consider the route service agreement with Liberty Tire. And when y'all looked at that, it's still in effect until, for another year or two?
2 years, 2 more years.
2 more years. So no action on this,
Except we don't need to carry any large equipment tires or tractor tires to them.
because that's not part of their.
That's not part of this original agreement. And they charge $300 a tire. to pick them up.
$300 a tire. So don't take your
And
time.
don't take your tire, please.
The big ones.
It's a lot cheaper to leave it with wherever you're buying
Could
from.
we skip down to number 17?
We sure can.
If that'd be agreeable with everybody, and I think Brian and Travis, they have some information about that, so if we could,
We're not taking any action on number 12. Let's go down to item number 17 to discuss issues on County Road 195.
Sorry, Clyde, 1 second, let me get my stuff together. Okay, so it obviously deals with Commissioner Ridge specifically, because it's in his, I'm sorry, deals with his precinct. The order that I have would be signed by all the commissioners though, but again, I think we'd all kind of be looking at Clyde as to what maybe he wants to do with this issue. Some of y'all may know there's a gate put up out on County Road 195. There's been some back and forth with the adjoining landowners. The landowner that actually has the gates here, his name is Travis Baird, and there was a landowner neighbor, and there was a dispute. To keep it very vague, because I don't want to get into the details of it, there was a settlement in that dispute. The neighboring landowner, Ricky Rash, signed away all of his right to go through that gate. I have those documents. He doesn't talk about any sort of ownership of the property or anything like that. He was accessing through the gate based on our county road continuing on. Obviously, Clyde and I have talked about this issue quite a bit, so he knows, kind of where we're at. What we have right now, looking at the documentation that I have together, is you have this county road 195. It's kind of a it's a U. I'll do the bolded map, and this is the map that the county adopted in 2010. We looked at that. So 195 is coming down here. It's that tail on that U. The gate is past this curve, okay, in a general sense. I have a survey and have described where that property starts based on the survey, but just for everybody to understand, it starts past that curve. The issue being, and Clyde and I discussing it, is we have a gate across a county road, right? And the feasibility of that moving forward and what we should do. I'm here, I have the paperwork ready to suggest, in talking to Clyde, that we abandon that portion of the road that dead ends into Travis Baird's property. Now, I don't want to tell you, and I want to be very clear with the court, and he's here to answer any questions that you may have. It's not a big piece of property it's a big piece of property, but it doesn't span across the county road in a way where there's acreage on one side and acreage on the other. However, his fence, if you're pulling up to the gate, his fence starts on the right side of the road and the rest of his property is to the left. Meaning, to me, he owns, and looking at the appraisal district maps, and we've looked at some other maps, to me it looks like that property spans over that road. Does that make sense to everybody? And so that road is dead ending into Travis Baird's property on both sides.
There's no other property owner beyond that needs to use that road.
Yes, ma'am. Now, we've had discussion, and that county road, I think, over the years has been a certain length. And I know that was a process that we got into with the lawsuit that was going on between the landowners. Looking at the map, though, from 2010, that was adopted for the reason of us understanding where county roads start and where they end. You know, you see the bolded there, and I would plan on filing that with the filing and with the surveys to show where it ends. Now, it's rudimentary, right? I mean, you're going to have to get your ruler out and find the inches versus the feet. But basically, we'd be giving up that last portion of the county road. Obviously, there's a lawsuit that happened that's been resolved, right? And I was glad of that for the parties. I was glad of that for the county. We didn't really know how all that was going to play itself out. So we're free and clear of that. One person has given up any right to go through that gate. This is my opinion, Clyde and commissioners, but I think it would be prudent for us to look into and potentially abandon this today, because there are some sales going on right now. Ricky Rash has talked that he is selling it to potentially a developer. I don't know that to be true by any means, but again, that's the story that I'm getting, as well as Travis is in the process of selling that property. My concern is we have a county road going through a gate, a locked gate, and the potential problems that may come about when these sales start happening. I have no idea if let's say it is a developer, what they're trying to look at as the access to that property. Do they think that county road keeps going? Do we have a sale and that buyer says no, that gate, we may get back into the same situation. That's my concern from a legal standpoint, that this would be the time to strike to.
Yes, because there's no other interested parties.
Can somebody come out of the woodwork?
At this point.
Potentially so, right? I'm never going to guarantee that things won't happen in the future by any means. But the way I'm looking at it, the way I'm looking at the maps, is that the interested parties have already settled out. If there's an interested party, beyond just the public wanting to use that county road, but again, going through what I've looked at statutorily, is we've done what we need to do to abandon that road.
There are no cemeteries that people would need to use that road for. There's no obvious reason anybody would need to use it.
What length of the road are you gonna close? How much you close it?
Well, and that's one issue that we have, and it's a very good question, is I don't really know.
We don't know the exact footage.
We don't know the exact footage. And
But now, you went down there last year sometime and placed a marker where you and some other folks determined that that's where y'all thought by the map that we had adopted, where the property ended, where the road ended. Y'all put that stake there, and that was in your best judgment where the road.
Would you say 30 feet?
no, ma'am, I would say, how far do you think from that gate to the T-post?
Maybe 1,000 yards.
Yeah, 1,000 yards.
Oh, okay.
Because we're closing it from the gate all the way down, and so it would be right past,
4,000 feet then.
yes, ma'am, right. I think I walked,
half a mile.
I think I walked with a wheel 4,000 feet from that T all the way to what I thought the ending would be. We measured it out, again, rudimentary, Commissioner rudimentarily measured it out, and I walked it with the wheel and put a T-post as to where I thought the county road ended. Now, it brings up a good point, you bring up a really good point, in the fact that the only way to really have it for sure where that county road goes is for us to get a surveyor out there and survey what distance and where we're at.
What year was the road dedicated to the county?
2,000,
There should be a current enough survey then.
well, what we did, it was, we drew off each road, each county road that was in place at that time. And at that time, they were not measured, they just kind of drew off where it was, so
And
we don't have a survey.
I'm assuming we're talking about that
Yes,
map?
yes.
So there's a map like this of every, and I'm telling you in the way that it was kind of told to me here, over the past few years, of a bolded road map as to what was formally adopted by the county.
And it was not measured out, it was just
How the road laid there,
how it lay.
how they took an aerial picture of it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The whole road is 4,000 feet?
The whole, what we measured from
way up
the
there.
T,
Yeah.
obviously we're not
And
abandoning
down
it.
here is where we're wanting to cut it off.
Yes, ma'am, but that gate's kind of up here.
Well, if it's there, if this is 4,000 feet or yards,
4,000 foot, I believe.
foot, okay, then probably, yeah.
But there's still a chain of title on the real estate, because whoever owned it prior to the road being dedicated to the county,
It wasn't dedicated.
had to assume.
Not now. Most of the roads in the county were not dedicated. They just became roads.
And that's,
the county started maintaining them, and so they were county roads. And so when we did this map, the purpose of it was to show what roads actually were county roads, and anything that's not on that map is not a county road.
That was the end of the line.
So we don't have any
you can see the
measurement.
to kind of go broader, you can see the dispute, because, again, not to get into every detail of what happened, but there's an argument as to how far this county road went back, right? Somebody was saying that, hey, I used to access it all the way back here.
Yes.
The position of myself was, we adopted this county map. So the county road ends where that bold line ends, no matter what has been done before.
Maybe a public road going on there that people used to use, but it's not been made. Could we do this? Could we just take a wheel and measure how far from where the road begins down to where the gate is, and say anything beyond that is abandoned?
I have given a legal, let me make sure I'm being clear, I think I am, that for sure the thing that we can do, barring a bolded line, is to get a surveyor to truly survey the specific property that we're talking about, right? From the gate to the end of the county road. It doesn't necessarily have to be done, because I can give a legal, I'm not a surveyor, right?
The land outside of that county road has been surveyed, and it's a save and accept. You shouldn't have to hire a surveyor.
And I'm referencing surveys that have been done. I have some surveys in here, and I'm referencing the start point of what we're abandoning per the survey. And then I am referencing the county road map that was adopted to basically say we're abandoning to where this county road ends per the adopted county road map. So I'm hoping anybody that were to look into this issue and they would be able to reference what we have on hand to show where that county road ends. But again, to be fair, you can get somebody else out there to walk it and that T-post may move a little bit. I put a
Well, and that's
T-post
the
where,
problem. No, we don't really know where the road ends.
but,
It ends at that gate.
well,
That's what we wanted.
that's what we wanted.
Measure from the intersection down to the gate, so that's where we stop.
I am taking,
Hold it off. We will.
yes, sir. I definitely see what you're saying. I'm taking the opposite approach where I am describing the property that we're
To be
giving
abandoned, yeah.
to be abandoned, right? Now, one thing I am missing is the approximate feet of that roadway that we're giving up.
Follow the gate and go over there.
Yeah, and I can do that. I also didn't, I'm an attorney, right? And I kind of try to think of any potential problem that may come up is that I'm walking a bolded map that I'm kind of trying to measure the best that I can.
Right.
Right, and so I didn't know if I wanted to put the number a foot because, let's say, again, I'm going off on a tangent that probably will never happen, but if there was some dispute that the county road went further down, well, now I've only abandoned.
That you didn't abandon, yeah.
And I know that's
Let me ask you this.
hypercritical.
Could we do this? Could we approve abandoning the road past the gate and based on the description that you put in the order, however you want to put the description in, but whatever property that whatever amount of road that is beyond that, can we approve abandoning that? And then you get the wording for it, put it in, we'll,
That's my plan.
okay.
Not to say, again, that we couldn't take a different approach to be very, very clear about what we're doing, measuring, surveying, whatever it is, but I have reference surveys that are on the
And come up with
books.
that however you want to.
And I
as far as
have
I'm
that,
concerned.
and I have that, Judge. I have it, obviously, if y'all need a chance to look at that. I was thinking that we could, we could approve the whole thing, right? We can approve it contingent on if y'all need me to do something further, measuring the road or doing anything like that. Again, I'm just voicing my concern on why I didn't do those things. I don't get, because Brian Evans is not a surveyor, right? And I'm measuring a road out and I'm trying my best to find out where it ends. But I don't know in the future, it may be somebody else's problem beyond me, this dispute coming back up. So I'm just saying, from where that property starts, that gate.
Anything back?
Pass the gate.
What materials on that road you're gonna close? Any good material on it? All sand, rock?
Okay, that's a good question. It's
All
sand.
All sand, there was some all sand. It was just a short road, I all sanded down to the end, where I thought was the end. And it's been done probably 15, 16 years ago. So, you know what the oil sand would look like. It's.
You just wouldn't wanna go back and pick your material up if you're gonna close the road.
I probably would think, in my opinion, at this time, y'all can tell me different. I would think it would cost the county more to go take it up than it would be worth, honestly.
And they don't stay it up.
I understand.
Lower a truck and through.
But, it's about, from off the county barn, it's about 38 miles up there to go get it, so now we're talking 70-something miles
Yeah.
to go up there and get it and haul it back to my county barn.
It gets, I'm not a commissioner either, it gets worse, the road gets worse as you go down. It kind of deteriorates as it goes, but that's because the county road ended, right? We used to maintain it probably all the way down to that creek. Well, then we adopted a map that I think, talking to all the landowners around, kind of pulled that county road back, from where it used to go back before 2010.
I'll tell you what I feel about it. Y'all are satisfied, I don't know the country, I don't know the landowner. But if it's suitable to everybody up there that owns that land ground, it's all right with me. But if it's gonna cause a problem with the landowner, I don't know. I'm not proposing nothing myself unless it's
Would you
plenty
give
all
me
right.
that picture?
I think,
Okay.
it's right down there on both sides. Well,
It's just a little bit on that one side, there's a fence and it's just, the road is right there, but it's on his, all on his
I mean, it's
property.
fine with
From,
me.
from what you found out, there's nobody else this goes into Travis's property, and there's nobody else that goes down through there anywhere. Only ones that I knew of at the beginning was some pipeline people. There were some pipelines down there, and at one time there were some oil, wells or something down there, and they had access in there. Now, I mean, I don't know what this would do to that, you know.
Going to your first point is that Rash owns past the fence on the right. According to what I've seen, he owns past the fence on the right side. So as you're driving into this gate, you got a fence on the right, Rash owns on the other side. While I don't believe that falls into the abutting landowners section of what I've looked at is we're abandoning the property inside that fence, right? I mean, so the property we're abandoning doesn't abut to Rash, as well as, like I said, what makes it clear for me is that there's court documents of him, I mean, you know, every legalese you can imagine of him getting up right to go through that road. So to me, that issue has been solved. Yes, sir. And so, like I said, I feel comfortable, but again, I'm not gonna sit up here and say, like what, Commissioner Oaks is saying, that there won't be a problem in the future. You know how these things happen with sales and things like that. But again, I feel like, and we've talked about this from the get-go, looking at it is, you know, what we can do to solve it going forward.
Well, yeah, I think that, I mean, my personal thoughts would be that we abandon the road from that gate down to where that marker's at, whatever distance that is. I don't know what that distance is. Is there a problem with us doing that?
No. That's what we're talking about. I mean, from a practical sense, taking a step back into county road issues, to me, having the gate across the county road is an issue, I guess.
It is with me.
It generally is just, I mean, I think we can all agree on that it is an issue. And I think this is a way to solve that issue moving forward if we're able to get that done, if y'all agree. Now, again, I'm looking for, let me make sure I step back into my role. I am advising, right? It's ultimately up to all the commissioners and definitely Commissioner Ridge about how he feels about this and how he wants me to move forward. If there's things that you think...
Could we say that we are amending, might not be the right word, the length of County Road, whatever number,
195.
to be a certain length and abandon anything beyond that? That way you don't have to try to worry about how far it goes down, really.
We could, would you do that in addition to what we have, like put it as, maybe as, I'm looking at, yes ma'am.
I'm good with doing it this other way too.
Well, and I'm thinking,
About other issues that might come up, that would certainly.
and I'm putting all these as exhibits. So when if somebody were to go look at this, boom, you have surveys, you have county road map, you have legal description, you have the order that's in court. So again, I think anything that we're talking about to me would almost go as an exhibit back behind.
Yes. Yeah.
And I can add whatever y'all want. I mean, we can go, up, like I said, I can go out there and measure it again, measure it past the gate and see how far it is and do all of those things.
I'm just thinking, you know how we talked about, we don't really know how far beyond that gate it goes. According to the way it's drawn, because that wasn't drawn to scale. So I'm in favor of doing it however you think legally would be the best description in your order to abandon beyond the gate?
I think these are good, really, really good ideas. And I definitely can't say that I don't need to do more. But I think coming into court, what I have, anybody that looks it up, it will be very clear.
Perfect with it then.
Now, they can dispute distances and how far the county road went in 2000 or 1995, but I think what I'm including with the map and all of those things, it will be very clear beyond this point, the county road no longer exists.
And I would think that maybe the owner could get a resurvey, taking this information and take the county road out, and the new survey is done without the county road from that point on, especially if they're selling it.
And that survey, and that's where the problem kind of arose, is that during the sale process, the survey was done. Well, the county road's going through the land, right? And so then, so I don't know, you know, if the seller's gonna do that, the buyer, but I do agree, you know, having a survey, it's a good point, having a survey past this point on record showing.
Yeah, it could show it on the survey, but he does own further, I guess, north on that road. He owns the land, doesn't he?
Yes, ma'am, I believe that the fence for Travis, as Travis's land comes out, it's going, his fence is on the right side. But yes, further north, in Rash, I think he gets into some of his property, further north where that little jag is, I think he may be able to get into his property there, I'm not really sure.
I don't know either. Just- So, but you're gonna maintain down to the gate then, will you be able to turn around there?
Back in.
Back out?
And there's nobody else in there that has property in there that accesses down that road currently? I mean, from the settlement that they made, Mr. Rash is not gonna go in there, so that's taken care of them. Is there anyone else that might wanna go in there?
There's, like you said, the pipeline people and the oil, there's an oil pad site that's no longer in production.
Even if it's not a county road though, they
But
have
they
an
have
easement.
an easement, and I have an agreement with them that they can come in and access when they need to.
So if this property sells, those people will still have an easement to get in there to where they need to go?
That would be my understanding, as well as, I mean, this goes beyond the point, but I think one of those pads, maybe the one that's not in production, which may be the issue, but it goes beyond where our county road stops right now. So there is some reduction to me, looking at the Bolden map, that's going past. And so, yes, I don't foresee that part being a problem. Really with the settlement agreement, and I wouldn't be here in front of you if I didn't have that language, truly. I mean, we would have Rash here, we'd be talking it all out. I feel very confident having the landowners agree that, hey, I don't have any access past that gate, that we are fine doing what we're doing. That's my personal thought.
Okay, do we have to do any other things that we have to do in order to abandon a road? Do we have to give notice, and there's some things that we have to do in order to abandon a road?
What I've looked at is I have the paperwork ready. If you want to move forward with it, then it is filed with the county clerk to go along with those records. That's the notice. I didn't see anything in the statutory requirements of.
Only if there was someone else that was using that road and there's not. Using that road, you know, he owns all the property behind it.
And the main thing I saw is kind of what you're getting at is any abutting landowner, they would need notice. I don't believe Rash falls in that because of what I'm looking at with the fence line. And to take it even further, and they have an agreement that Rash can't go down there. I would assume it's up to Rash to make sure that his body, you know, whoever he's selling to, that they understand. You know what I mean? I mean, if he's telling that he goes through the gate and goes down and accesses his property down there, obviously that's a misconstrued at this point. I'm not saying that he's doing that, I'm just saying if that problem were to come around, it'd be from somebody misconstruing what has been done in the past.
So what do we need in order to close that road, abandon that road from that gate?
It's this order. It has obviously a lot of legalese in there. The bottom portion is the pertinent part.
The following property owner is the owner of real property which abuts the portion of the abandoned road, and it gives the name, Camelberry Ranch, the dimensions of the abandoned right-of-way, and that's on an exhibit. The grantor, which is Freestone County, and it is abandoned to the ranch. Well, would we be granting it to him? Since we don't, it's a county road, but I don't know that we actually own the county.
It's
road.
interesting, Judge, if you look at that 251.058, it actually requires that language.
Okay.
It is
All right.
saying the, I forget how it's worded, but the abandoning party, I guess I should say, is,
Okay.
it shall be named as the grantor and the, yes, ma'am, no,
Thank
and
you.
that language is probably a little bit too much for me as well. When I first saw it, I got that form from Leon County. They've abandoned some roads for the same reasoning as the landowner has bought on both sides. And anyway, so it seemed a little bit too much to me, but it's statutory.
And, you know, since the case has been settled and they have agreed, that gives me more peace of mind about it.
Right.
That he's given up any right that he had to use that road. And it wasn't his road anyway, but he used it, went on down past where the county road was, but he's given up his right to any of that, in that agreement.
So the motion needs to be to,
Would you read the motion? Make us a motion. Okay,
I'll do my best, Commissioner here. The motion would be for Freestone County to abandon the portion of County Road 195 as described in the order and exhibits that goes past the gate.
All right. And you've got all the language in the exhibits. Is that your motion? That is your motion. Do we have a second? All in favor, aye. Thank you. Happy days, okay.
It requires all the commissioners.
All righty.
If I would just say that.
Let's just do this right. Just wait. Thank y'all. It's been quite a ordeal for y'all, I know. If you don't make me get that,
there is a good.
Sorry?
Bridge is washed out, walking creek. And they're building that.
There's probably roads all in this county that were open when I was a kid.
Depends on if it's on that road map.
Well, these are not.
Okay, well then, they're not county roads anymore. then.
No, I'm talking about the roads have been closed. Called bridges washed out, it's closed roads. Landlord on the road.
Probably all of them.
You go through, do it.
Thank you. We'll go to item number 13 and 14 and talk about, these positions that we are trying to get filled. I think you have, a starting of a job description for emergency management coordinator. Some of the pertinent things, at the top, the emergency management coordinator would address emergencies that emergencies that are routinely handled by local volunteer fire departments along with their mutual aid from other departments would be excluded unless it was something that was actually, needed, and they could call for the emergency management person to come out. But we need to talk about that. Do you just want them every time there's a fire out on the highway when the fire trucks go, or would it be only if they needed them to be called out, the emergency management person? That was a question there. And then the environmental investigator that would investigate environmental regulations and address violations, mainly illegal dumping, and then also animal control. Now the questions we're going to have to write a description on that, and that's so that would limit it to what is necessary also. But I think the big discussion is who is going to supervise this, whether it's going to be Commissioner's Court or whether that will be under the sheriff's supervision. And talk about on the illegal dumping, if this person would be able to use prisoners, because they would have to have either a jailer's license or be a law enforcement officer, and be able to use prisoners, and then with the assistance maybe of the commissioners if there was equipment needed to help to clean up any of those sites for illegal dumping. But the main focus being on if it's just some trash, being able to use prisoners to take them out to clean that up if it was just a small thing. But I feel certain that the commissioners would assist with any equipment if they needed that. Do y'all usually use equipment for cleanup for
Went to get a couch this morning, no
We
good.
have to.
Yeah. So am I saying that correctly? Is that something is that sounding like what how you think it should be working?
Yes, if it's gonna be supervised by myself in my office, then obviously we can use that person as long as they're licensed through the state of Texas in law enforcement, either as a jailer or a.
Figure out what we have to have and get them qualified for that.
Well, either one would work, but you gotta have you gotta be a licensed peace officer in order to file the charges, for that officer to file the charges on the dumping. So preferably, I would prefer to have a licensed peace officer, so he's handling his own business and not just doing this part and passing it on and passing it on. We don't need all that.
Would that peace officer also be doing emergency management?
No, I mean, he could. That's up to you guys. I think we were talking about being an animal control officer, an emergency management person, and a health and safety officer. That's quite a bit on one person. But
Well, and I'm thinking, if we started like that, certainly if we figured out that was gonna be too much, we might need to come back and, you know, move one of those duties to a part-time person, like we've had before. I'm just throwing some thoughts out there.
Your
We'll hear what everybody
environmental
says.
officer's gonna have to be certified environmental person. They're gonna have to go to school.
Yeah, no matter what, they have to have a certain certification.
Now, I'll throw something in there. I'm an intermediate environmental crimes officer myself, and I have been for years. So, I mean, I can surely help out as far as.
Would you, and you have a peace officer's license?
Master's peace officer.
So, would you be the official environmental officer and then maybe get assistance through the sheriff's department?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take, like Jeremy said, it's gonna take a person to actually be able to go do that full-time as well. And so you're gonna need another individual. Now, wherever you place it, whether you place it with them or you place it with,
A full-time position for environmental?
yes. I mean, you've got environmental stuff that's been going on for a long time. So, I mean, the biggest concern, I think, is you're concerned about whether it can be supervised. It needs to be supervised. There's no question about that. But there's gotta be a way that we can either set up a website or something for people to report this to, so it doesn't have to go to the commissioners. I mean, they're eventually gonna get it, you're gonna get all the information, but you shouldn't be getting a call every 10 minutes that there's trash out there. There ought to be a way for somebody to report it, then you can go to that website and see.
I'm not sure that people out there, that when they walk up and find trash in the creek, they're not gonna be looking for a website to call, they're gonna be looking for an individual.
Well, I'm not saying that you don't have an individual, I'm just
I'm
saying.
just saying they're gonna need a phone call, a phone number, and somebody to call.
When it comes to reporting it, my personal opinion on that is I don't care who's doing it, it needs to come through my office, so
It needs to go through dispatch.
there you
A
go.
record.
There where there's a running record and everything's recorded.
Yeah, who called what time?
Well, that individual that's doing it should be calling out to the county anyway, should be on the log.
A lot of people have, in the past, have called Bill Madden, had his number, and if I'm not mistaken, he told me that his phone was a county-issued phone, so we need to be sure to get that phone if he's retired.
I mean, it should go through the dispatch. I tend to agree with Jeremy. It has to go through the dispatch. You've got to keep a record of what's going on. And if it went to the sheriff's department dispatch, and it was dispatched out to the individual, then you'd have a record of it.
Right,
You'd have a log.
however you want to set that up.
Bill had around 560 calls last year.
I think the biggest concern was how much of it could you actually see documented to show that that's what occurred. I know he was out on a lot of calls.
We have an incident right now with a trash deal that we've been working on for 3 or 4 weeks, and whenever I talked to Jeremy, it wasn't documented. It was never documented, and the person told me they called the sheriff's office, and now.
And it was transferred to Madden because he don't work for me.
So I mean, but it was called into your office, so now.
And that's
It'd
what-
be different if it's under your.
There you go.
So now if it's called in, it will be, if it's under your jurisdiction,
Then
then
it has to be documented.
that'll be taken care of.
I don't document what goes to somebody else. I document what comes through my office as far as my people.
All right, what do we need to do? What other information do y'all need for me to get together, or someone to get together for us to try to get this decided? What other information can we get together?
I think we need a licensed peace officer.
Okay,
If they call in and say they have trash on the road for Jeremy, and Jeremy can call or tell or whatever.
That person be dedicated to that job.
Yeah, and he worked for Jeremy, Jeremy signed his time, he knows what he's doing, you got a record of what he's doing,
Okay,
and we get it cleaned up. If he needs us, precinct 1, call me, I'll help him. If it's not, dig through the trash, get in touch with the person, write him a ticket if he doesn't clean it up, and get it cleaned up. It's a problem, I know we have a problem. But it's pretty simple, just need somebody to tend to it.
all right. And is that person gonna also handle other duties?
Well, I'd wait and see how busy he is. I'd go ahead and part-time my, emergency management person.
The other option you have is to just assign it to all the constables in their precincts, let them take care of their own precinct. Or call it in to dispatch.
I don't think it'll get done in all precincts.
You know, originally, the environmental also handled animal control until he decided not to do that. And then other duties as directed by the supervisor would be in there too, if you're the supervisor.
When you say animal control, you mean cattle out and bad dogs? All of it?
Dogs mainly. All my guys handle cattle or horses out, but it's mainly aggressive dogs. They're dangerous, aggressive dogs, that's what we'll that's what we normally do. Yes.
Vicious, right? Vicious, maybe you say that, vicious dogs.
All right, are we gonna make a decision today, or are we gonna look at some other stuff?
Can you put it, you mean we'll make a decision to run it through the sheriff's department?
And duties that will be in that position, or any of it? What are we gonna do about any of it? Are we ready to make that decision?
Ready to write down, like, agree that this position is gonna include all of this right here,
Okay,
as far as all the, what we can agree on that should be in the job description,
all right.
what their responsibilities will be.
Yes, all right, and what are those gonna be? Are we agreeable that it's going to be under the sheriff's department?
Yeah,
I'm for that. I think it should be a licensed peace officer under the sheriff.
Licensed peace officer, I've got that written down. Okay, and it will be the environmental? Is that agreeable? Okay,
And is that all he's gonna do is environmental?
Well, that's-
Or is he gonna be,
that's
is
my
he
next
gonna be out
question.
doing other things, being a deputy and doing other things? Or is he just gonna be doing this?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out, what he's gonna be doing.
yeah, we got our list here, let's decide. Environmental would be cleanup of illegal dumping and use of prisoners by this person with the assistance of the commissioners as needed.
Yeah,
Does that
if we need,
sound-
if we need, if it's a big deal like we got right
Yes,
now,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, and then we have the other, what about emergency management? Is it this person gonna start off by handling that also and see how that works out?
It's fine with me. I
And
can let
then-
y'all know.
And then, after time, see how it's working time-wise, and then if need be, then we'll come back and talk about a part-time for emergency management if we need that.
Yeah, and I'll have numbers to base stuff off of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, you know, you always put something at the end, other duties as directed by supervisor, so that if he's not handling something environmental or emergency management, then he can do whatever you direct him to do,
Yeah,
him or her.
what, how many calls did you say you took, Buck?
That's what I say, y'all are looking for Superman.
Let's get it going.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And then we'll see.
Around 560 cows.
All right, if he took 560 calls of dumping, my deputies apiece take about 350 calls apiece. So, I mean, that just, if
We'll
that's,
talk about it.
but that's my point is, once I have documentation of what
Yes,
exactly,
and see what we need, how we need to.
yes, then I can present that, show y'all kind of what all he's
I was
doing.
just saying,
Judge, I
can we
only
get
have
a,
a question as far as the pay scale right now. Those two positions are not under the sheriff's department on the pay scale. Will we need to
We're gonna leave it
revisit
under
that?
county services for right now.
Okay, not under the sheriff's department's pay scale.
And then when we do our new budget, we'll move it over.
What does that
We-
position even pay? I don't even know.
Well, we have a health and safety, and then we have, health and safety is under, I think it's the same, oh, I got it right here. Health and safety and emergency management, health and safety is 33,600. Is that what deputies start? No, they're not.
They're at 38.
Hmm?
They're at 38. and I'm deputy board.
But that was because he had been here and gotten raises and various things. The higher end for the health and safety is 33,600. Yeah,
Okay.
we may have to talk about that then.
That may be difficult to,
If,
I was going to say that may be difficult to
to feel.
to feel.
If they're gonna have to be a peace officer, which, you're right, we might have to move it over to the,
And they have to be a peace officer to be even able to file charges. So, I mean, we gotta have a peace officer.
did Bill ever file charges? Where?
Well, we filed some the local JP, we sent one guy that was a thief around here to prison on a building jumping charge. We got him out of the county because he was running the PD, the sheriff's department, crazy on bail.
We may have to come back and talk about that starting salary. The health and safety officer, starting salary is 33,600, and the deputy is 38,160. So if we're gonna hire them in as a deputy, or we're gonna hire them in as a health and safety officer? They're gonna have to have a peace officer's agreement though, a license.
One thing, just being a peace officer, you can work them 4 hours and then probably the health and safety officer. I think y'all are just requiring them to do 40 hours and peace officers about
So where are we going to put this person, as far as on the
Well, are they,
salary grades? That's
Now-
what we're asking, right?
Yes, ma'am.
now what all have we included in that so far? So we got the health and safety officer and the EMC?
That's it.
Okay, well, well, if you're not gonna have the part-time EMC, whatever, well, do y'all even have that right now or no?
It's open right now, that's why we're trying to.
So there's money dedicated to it right now?
Yes.
So that money could actually go,
To make it be a deputy's salary.
yes,
But then if you decide that he can't handle an EMC, we won't have any EMC money, part-time money. I think if we're gonna do it this way, under a deputy, with someone being a deputy, that we need to hire it in at the deputy salary, the 38,160. We have enough trouble getting them anyway, don't we? And just show them and transfer money from the emergency management part-time to make that a licensed peace officer
and if I don't,
position.
if
Is
I
that
can't
what
find somebody that's already licensed in both of those areas, which is probably not gonna happen.
Well, the
It
EMC
might,
is not
I might get
licensed.
lucky, but we'll have to get them licensed and we'll have, I mean, it's gonna be a whole learning process. But
Well, we sure need one.
Well, if you're gonna be environmental, what else?
Emergency management.
Well, emergency management, this time anyway, how are you gonna fill those two positions? Cats, dogs,
One
whatever.
person doing the emergency management and the,
health and safety,
environmental.
environmental. yeah.
One person.
One person.
You gonna have two persons?
One person. To start off and see how that,
Yeah.
and if that doesn't work, then we'll have to talk about going back to the part-time and what we're gonna do.
If they attend to all of it, that calls on the dogs, the trash, and the emergency medical will be worth something. If they attend to it, if they don't attend to it, they ain't worth doing.
Yep.
That's what I find. But you gotta have somebody who's gonna be a self-starter and have to really wanna get after it.
So I guess we will need to transfer that out then and transfer it into, the deputy. But we'll put a
Judge,
description.
my only other question on that is if y'all vote on it, it starts today, when, I just need to know who needs to sign that separation notice when bill goes out,
Do
so.
what now?
if that, y'all vote on it, that starts today under
It's
Jeremy?
not gonna start
Oh,
today.
okay.
Because Bill's not even,
Yeah.
it can't start till next
Okay.
month sometime, so it won't be today.
Gotcha.
Is this kind of what we're talking about now?
We don't have time anyway, cause I gotta find somebody.
Well, and, Bill is still employed till the end of the month, and then we're gonna have to advertise and
Yeah.
all of that, so it'll probably be a month before we can worry about that.
The sooner we get somebody, the better we will be. I mean, because we're having problems now with
Well,
trash.
that's why I'm saying, can we decide something now? Are we good about with what we talked about?
Yeah.
And then we'll come back and revisit it after we've gotten into it, so let's see how it's working.
Emergency management and,
All animals,
well, what?
all animal control, animals, dogs, cats.
Yeah, but there's
They're all animals.
Your deputies deal with vicious animals, this person gonna deal with all animals.
you know, that's just to cost this county a whole lot of money.
Not
Yeah,
necessarily.
let's-
Oh, yes?
All right, can we come back
Yeah.
and after we get this started and talk about if we can put animal control in with that? How about if we just focus on vicious animals right now?
Well, that's what we focus on.
Well, they're saying all animals.
Yeah, that's,
People call for you to come pick up your cats, there's cats out here somebody put out and all that, we can't,
and all that.
I don't know how we.
County ends up paying for every single animal that goes up to
I
that.
know. But we do need help with
You
vicious.
probably need a full-time job just for that.
Well, and two,
Your cows, we could bill on them.
but
Well, yeah, I've been making good on that.
we recoup on that.
Yeah.
Animal control,
You don't sell it.
animal control itself is a totally different realm.
Totally
I
different.
was over animal control in Taylor. I want to tell you, it's a full-time job.
Man, we got a dude right here, I don't know why we're looking
I'm
any
just
further.
saying, I have the experience of it. I know what happens with animal control. A lot of our animal control officers, we had one animal control officer, but we had a lot of volunteer people that helped that animal control officer.
And that's a whole
And that right
big
there-
issue here
Can we
in
start off
itself.
with the environmental and the emergency management and get those going and then see where we are?
Fine with me.
Okay, is it? And the higher end is gonna be the deputies amount. We'll move that over there.
Are we voting? Better vote on it.
I'm trying to see if we got everything down here. And then, okay, I think I got it.
So will you bring like a report, maybe back to court, how many calls you get
As far as
about
dumping and stuff?
dumping,
Yep, I
illegal
can.
dumping?
I'll have him do it. I'll have whoever we hire.
Provide his report,
Yep.
Yes.
I think that's.
Yeah, I'll have, cause that'll be what he's doing. And one of the reasons why it's gotta, well, for one, they're taking 560 something calls a year. But that vehicle out there is for the environmentalists. That's why we have it.
And that
And so
vehicle
he has to be
will-
dedicated to that specific job.
Yes.
Now, can he do other stuff? Sure, but he's gotta be dedicated
Yes.
to that job
Yes.
for that vehicle.
Yes, that's correct.
So that's a whole deal. So it's just like I have a civil service guy and a transport guy. He doesn't do anything else but that, because that takes all his time. And I mean, the guy serves like 700 papers a year, if not more. Plus he does other transports. He's dedicated. That's my guy dedicated to that. I don't have to worry about anybody else doing it. That's the same as I'm gonna handle this. You've got an environmentalist and,
Emergency management,
emergency management,
that's first
and that's it.
priorities.
Yeah, that's it. His first priority is environmental,
Environmental.
and then EMC, yeah.
Yes, we got some more stuff. Let's vote on this one.
Yes.
Let's vote on this one. To hire a deputy to move the position to the sheriff's department. No, to make the sheriff the supervisor of county services person, which would be environmental officer and emergency management coordinator. Is that, and other duties as directed by the supervisor. Is
Make
that a
that
motion?
motion.
All right. Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, aye. Motion carried, and we'll fine tune that then.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to, item number 15, consider going out for RFP for depository contract or extend our current depository contract for 2 years. Now, y'all had some questions, is that correct? You needed to get firmed up, and Brett's here, so let's,
So our current depository contract says that we are allowed to extend one time for 2 years and not have to go back out for RFP, which is request for proposal bids. And so if the Commissioner's Court is and it says with negotiations on both sides. So we can do that without going back out for bids if the Commissioner's Court and the bank wants to negotiate any changes in the current one and not go back out for RFP. Or we can choose at this point to go back out for RFP, send it out to all the banks again, get all the information, and then choose the depository contract either for a 2-year or a 4-year term. Whatever the
if we
Commissioner's Court
extend,
wants to
Brett, are
do.
there going to be any changes?
The only changes will be to the rates. Obviously, we're in a different rate environment, and I cannot tell you right now exactly what that rate would be. Obviously, last time, we were way ahead of anybody else as far as the rate went. The services, as far as what we provide and any of that, none of that would change. We'll still come over here and get the deposits every day like we do. We have set the tax office up on remote capture. I don't think they're using it right now because it's their busy time,
Yeah.
but come
And we have a new
February,
person there, so.
they'll start doing that. We're also in the process of getting the treasurer's office set up on remote capture so that they can do their own deposits and everything. None of the services will change. We will just negotiate new rates as far as for the checking account and the CDs and stuff.
All right. Now, when will we negotiate those?
Well, I mean, if y'all are interested in extending that contract, we can negotiate them, you know, this next week or whatever.
And is that all we need to talk about, is the rates then? In y'all's opinion?
So,
Okay.
yeah, this
All
decision
right.
is just.
Is
whether we
that,
wanna
is that what
negotiate or-
we're talking about, from our commissioner's side?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we continue.
That we negotiate the rates and then continue on with both?
The price will be higher this year, won't it?
Yeah,
They won't be higher this time. They will not be higher, but they'll be higher than anybody else around here, I can promise you that.
Just say we'll negotiate the rates and then see where we're gonna go.
Well, that's basically what we're doing, just negotiate the rates and then, you know, depending on that, as long as it's not something we just can't do with. All right, we need to do that pretty soon, don't we?
Yes, because I have to do, if we go out for RFP, I have to back 60 days from the expiration of our current contract, which will be the end of May. So
So we can wait till the next commissioner's court meeting and
Yes,
and we
yes.
still be fine. Okay, so we'll do that and see if we can get that on, get that worked out. When will the next meeting be? February? First Wednesday in February.
We can, the next meeting, we're gonna be going out of town.
That's right, we're gonna talk about that in just a minute. So let's say, let's talk about it right now. When is that next meeting gonna be?
So you're going to be on that Monday or that Monday?
Tell us which day.
What's the easiest for y'all?
Well, I'm looking over here, what, Monday or Tuesday? Huh? Monday or Tuesday?
Let's do it on the, what do y'all think, that Monday, cause
Do it on that Monday.
Monday morning.
It's February 1st on Monday?
Yeah. What's the easiest for y'all?
That's what,
Karen? What's the easiest for y'all?
It doesn't matter for
Doesn't matter
us.
to y'all?
good Monday, February the first.
February 1st.
February
Second.
February second Tuesday?
No, I'm sorry, I'm second the motion to first.
Oh, excuse me. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Be February the 1st. And we'll have it on there for then and see if we can get it.
Judge, do we need to do any voting on the depository? We had a motion and a second, so I'm just asking, did we need to go ahead and vote to negotiate with the current
Did we
contract?
have a motion on the?
Made the motion. let's
Four
say-
made the motion, number one seconded,
To discuss.
Negotiate.
to negotiate with the current
Negotiate the.
rates negotiate the rate.
To
Was that the
extend with
motion
the
to
negotiate,
negotiate? That
to
was the
extend
motion
the
to
contract with the
negotiate.
negotiated rate?
Yes, all in favor, aye on the motion to negotiate. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you, sorry about that. And then we'll go down to, we're not voting on February 1st, but it's gonna be February 1st, because that's not on the agenda. All right,
Yes,
so
you have a
the,
Yes.
16 is to,
You have a supplemental.
oh, we did have one.
And we did,
Yes,
we
it's
said,
in your book.
we had motion and voted on it, so.
We voted on it?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
16 is to allow Dan to opt out of the county medical insurance. Do we have a motion?
I make it motion.
We'll still be okay with our numbers, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all in favor, aye? Motion carried. And we've done number 17. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, aye. Thank you.